Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 31 Days Live in May. My name is Tabitha Librad, and I am a conflict management strategist, and I help leaders of diverse teams manage conflict in their relationships, systems, and workflows with ease so they can bridge the gap between issues and outcomes and create peaceful, productive, and profitable workplaces. And the reason I'm doing these live streams in May is because, like I've been saying every day, I noticed that we're sort of in the middle of Q2 and things are rough. Things are tough. There's so many expectations that have we've had as we've been going along, and life is lifing. And usually, when we are feeling this way, when we're feeling hard pressed to get through the things that we have planned, when we are praying and waiting for God to answer us on prayers, sometimes we get worn out. And when we are worn out, because we're human, it is a little difficult to handle conflict and resolve conflict. Enter me. This is why I'm doing this. I am doing this to help you just recenter and reset. And I'm helping you by giving you tools for conflict resolution. So every day in May, we're going to talk about a different conflict resolution tool. And today we are talking about the power of presence. So, wherever you're watching from, whether it is on the replay or whether you're watching live, do say hi. Let me know where you're watching from and let me know how warm it is there because I am in Michigan. So I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for things to warm up. So, all right. So we're talking today about the power of being present in the moment and how that helps you resolve conflict. It affects relationships and it demonstrates a commitment to conflict resolution if you can be present in the moment. Truly speaking, being fully present when something is going on with someone, when someone you're connected to is going through a problem, or if you're a leader of a team and someone is having a conversation with you, sharing something that's happening in their lives, or sharing something, asking for help. Being fully present is a valuable gift. And when there is some kind of conflict, it is even more important for you to stay present in the moment. Being fully present and showing that you are connected demonstrates to the person speaking with you that the issue that you all are talking about is important to you. There's nothing that tells me I am unimportant than when someone is disengaged. So, full presence shows a commitment to working things out, or if you are not involved in it, to helping people work things out. The invitation here, as we talk about this, is to think about a time when someone did not give you their full attention. So you're interacting with someone, but you can tell that you don't have their full attention, especially if it was in a situation of conflict. How did you know that they were not fully present? And how did it feel to you? And then try to apply the converse to a situation. If there is something going on and you want for sure to connect with someone, give them the gift of your presence because that is the first step to conflict resolution. Now, how can you fully engage? One of the tips I like to share is to turn away from distractions. These things that we have around us carry now every single thing that we have. I can't tell you the number of phone numbers I knew as a child and the number of phone numbers I have now forgotten because everything is stored in my phone and all I have to do is follow 2 or 3 clicks and everything is there. And many times we're multitasking. We're using our phones, we're also using another device, and we are not always right there in the moment mentally. Now, understanding that the phone is a distraction and a barrier to communication is one of the steps to engaging. If you can turn away from it, put it on deaf, put it on mute, and turn it down, the person interacting with you is sure that they're taking the first step in having your full attention. If you're in an office setting, another tip is to close the door to prevent interruptions as long as you are in a safe place. So if it's the kind of conflict where you feel unsafe, then I don't advise you to close the door. But if you are in a situation where it's a safe space, then close that door to prevent interruptions. Because putting the phone away, closing the door, and focusing says to the person, you have my attention. I can hear you. And with this tip, the invitation is to think of distractions that you admit come up when you're trying to focus on conversations. And think in advance of how you would identify those distractions and eliminate them before trying to engage in conflict resolution or preparing to engage in conflict resolution. Another tip to show that you're fully present in a situation is to try to use positive body language. Now, there's something we call encouragers when we're talking about facilitating conversations. Encouragers are things like nodding, making eye contact, and open hand gestures, showing that you're talking, you're engaged, and you want to balance how you do this because the person is going to see whether it is genuine or whether you're just doing this to draw them in. But in showing that you're engaged, be prepared to give signals that you're engaged and that you're ready to listen. You don't want to have your arms folded. You don't want to pull back from someone. You don't want to avert your eyes or be looking somewhere else or maybe turning, looking out the window. Things like that make the other person feel that you're not necessarily with them. So practice using positive body language in your daily conversations. And you can do that by going in front of the mirror and looking at your face and looking at the way you position yourself and asking yourself, am I open? Do I look like I'm open to conversation? Do I look approachable? I was in a situation working with an HR manager, and there was someone who was in a customer service team in a client facing role. And that person in the customer facing role had mannerisms that people gave feedback were off putting. And one of the exercises we had the person do was sit in front of a mirror. So we created a space, we got some snacks, we got something to drink, we had a little laugh, and then we said, this is what we want you to do. I'm going to be the person. We did a little role play with a mirror in front of the staff member. And the staff member was able to model the behavior that they do when people come in to the office, and the staff member was able to look at their face while they model behavior. And we had them actually do that and practice smiling while they were talking. And it was a really great session. We got some good feedback from the staff member that we were able to use with other people. And the outcome was that that staff member was able to create little mannerisms that were more positive body language. So that's a tip for you. Practice it on yourself. And if you're in a situation like that, practice it with your team. Tip number 4 is to connect to the story of the person you are speaking with. Connect in a way where they understand that you hear them. So little things like repeating some of what is said, again, not parroting it, but just repeating some of what is said, or summarizing and repeating it back to them, helps the speaker to understand that you're with them. And it helps for you to be able to confirm what they're saying. It also keeps you from being distracted. So as you follow, make sure that you understand that they hear you, they know that you're connected with them, and they feel you with them. Yes? The encouragement for this tip, if you want to practice it, is to actively engage in the next conversation that you have. Practice summarizing and confirming that you understand before the person moves on to another point. So every time someone is talking, you listen, you follow, and when they take a breath or when they end a sentence, you say, I see. So what you're saying is that, and you summarize to them. Try that, and I'd love to hear in the comments if you've ever done that before, or if you are going to try it. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on doing that. So I've got tip number 5 for you, and that is to remain focused and engaged. And depending on what's happening around you, depending on how serious and involved the conflict is, this might be difficult. But being focused helps you to find common ground with the person and a shared identity. Because if you're focused and you're listening, you're able to parse what you're hearing, and you're able to be problem solving as you're listening by listening for common ground, listening for shared values, and listening for shared identity, and then connecting with that in conversation so that you build trust, you build awareness, and it's a step closer to being able to resolve conflict. Now, the encouragement here is to try to identify when your mind wanders. And I can tell when I am in a conversation, I can tell when my mind is going to wander. I start immediately getting another thought. And there are little things that I do that I'll share with you to help me bring things back into focus. One of the tips that can help you stay engaged with someone is to keep looking at the person. Focus on your breath instead of the thought that was coming, right? Ooh, I'm listening to something, but did I turn the stove off? Did I leave the car engine on? Did I hear the doorbell? Is that the mail? Oh my goodness, did I put the letter in the letterbox? So many thoughts can come while you really should be focusing. But if you focus on your breath, as you breathe and you listen, it becomes an exercise of mindfulness where you're centering yourself and you're receiving information from the person who is speaking or connecting with you. And if you let your eyes follow their movements while you are focusing on your breath, you are able to focus on yourself, on your presence, and on theirs. And so the encouragement for this tip, and I'd love to know if this is something that happens to you, and if you've tried any of these tactics to keep yourself focused, the encouragement for this action item is to plan strategies to stay focused during conversations. And whether you're listening now or on the replay, I would love to hear what your strategies are for staying focused in a conversation. So, how do we remain fully present? We do that by monitoring our feelings. We do that by doing our best to stay calm. We do that by recognizing what conflict is and preparing ourselves to deal with it so that it doesn't catch us by surprise. The encouragement for you today is to practice emotional awareness, practice preparing for difficult conversations so that you don't just shift into avoidance and leave conflict unaddressed. And practice preparing your grounding techniques in your daily life so that it can help translate you in communicating with others, whether it is personal or in your career. And thanks for listening today. Let me hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what we talked about today. I'd love to hear if you have any tips that I didn't mention. Love to hear you share them with us. And if you're leading a team and you're looking for ways to enhance your conflict management skills, I want to invite you to sign up for an upcoming workshop that we have. It's going to help you to practice these skills in a real life setting. We're going to create an environment where you'll be able to practice these skills, and you're going to be able to come away with more tips on how to be the kind of leader that builds trust, that is likable, and that is able to easily resolve conflict. But thanks for listening. If there is anything that you can think about that I have not mentioned, please do share it, because you are going to help not only me, but our other listeners to grow. Thanks for listening. Take care and have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you tomorrow for our next day. Bye.